words. Vince told me about 30 seconds ago I was speaking, so I'm going to get surprised as well.
That's not true.
Just kidding, just kidding. I do consider it really an honor and a privilege just to share for a couple minutes. My wife and I, we've been in business for the last 9 years in the network marketing profession, and about a year and a half ago we started a personal training brand. So we do some a lot of online videos, Facebook Live, we've done some products. We wrote a book actually by accident that became a bestseller. You never know what's going to come out if you just start taking action. But we always address our audience as world changers. It's kind of a catchy title, but we actually believe that it's true. We think that every person on the planet today, you guys included, was created to change the world. I don't think anybody was here by accident, whether your parents planned you or not, okay? Maybe they weren't anticipating having you. I think everybody was created on purpose, with a purpose, and for a purpose. Is there anybody here that believes that? Yes. There's like 3 people super excited. Even this morning, I was taking my daughter to school, and you know what's funny is if you think you're going to change the world, you're crazy enough to do it, and if you don't think you're going to change the world, you're probably not going to do it. My daughter's 2 and a half. I tell her every day that she's going to change the world, and on the way to school today before this meeting, I said, Hannah, I looked in the mirror and I said, you know you're going to change the world, right? She said, yeah! That fired me up. I just get excited. I feed off of that. But if I believe that's true, why is it that some of us don't actually leave a legacy? We don't actually leave our mark or change the world. And I just want to define changing the world. If you change a life, you change the world around them, which can impact the world. Would you agree? So just to take the pressure off, there's no like, you got to impact this many lives to change the world. But if we believe that's true, why is it that sometimes people don't actually do it? I believe with everything in me that I know the reason. You guys want to know what it is? Yeah. Okay, you got to come back next week. I'm out of time. I want to actually get some feedback from you first. So what would you say is the #1 reason that holds people back in life, in business?
Fear.
I didn't even get my whole example, but you guys just said fear, right? It's that false evidence appearing real. For fun, you guys have all heard that acronym. For fun, I just want to dial it back, rewind time for the guys in the room. When you were in high school, maybe you had a little bit more hair and some abs. I miss all of that. You were getting ready to ask that young lady to the prom, and you might have got paralyzed by fear, right? It's that fear. I think fear is the ultimate dream killer. I think fear is the ultimate manipulator because it causes us to do things or not do things in an unfair way. It keeps you from stepping into your assignment. It keeps you from stepping into your destiny. And that's what I want to talk to you guys today about. I asked Facebook, well not Facebook, but my friends on Facebook, what's the #1 thing? Over 75% of people said fear. Their other answers, if you boiled it down, pretty much came down to fear. Like if you got down to the common denominator. So what would life look like? Like what would the possibilities look like if you could actually crush fear, like recognize that's a lie, kick it in the teeth, and actually step into your assignment? Would that be like a life of freedom? Sure. Okay, 2 people. I'm going down. I had 3, now I got 2 people following. So I would agree that that's an abundant life. I would say that that's the life of freedom that we were designed to walk in. And I think there's 2 keys. I actually call that, my wife and I, this is something we are passionate about. We actually phrase it walking a bulletproof life, like living a bulletproof life. And I think there's 2 keys. Before I give you the first key, I just want a little bit more participation. So I want you to think of a leader that's really influenced you. You might know him, you might not. Maybe you listen to him on a podcast every week. Not every mentor you have, you're going to know personally. Do you know that? Yes. So what are some of the characteristics? What are some of the qualities that come to mind? Like what that draws you to them? Just shout them out. Positivity, passion.
Willingness to take chances.
Willing to take chances, take risks. Leadership. So here's something, all phenomenal answers and all correct answers. Here's something you may not think about very much, but think about that leader for a minute. Would you agree that they all live and walk unashamed? Yes. Yeah. Right? They live their life on fire. They burn for something. They live unashamed, and they don't make apologies for it. The last time I checked, guys, lukewarm never changed the world. You know, if you burn for something and you stand for something, you are going to attract your raving fans. You're going to attract people with the same message. In fact, if you burn for something, you're actually somebody else's breakthrough that doesn't have the courage yet. They see you walk it out, and then they step into breakthrough, right? So the same is true. If you burn for something, you're actually going to repel people as well. Is that like, that's going to happen? You're never going to have 100% of people on the same page. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And so I just look at the leaders. I look, man, they live their life unashamed. They are unapologetic. And I want to say this. I think living a bulletproof life is not what you might think, where I go, Yvonne, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do it anyway. I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's that you burn for a message, your faith, your beliefs, your products, your company. You can relate this to business. You burn for it so much, and you believe in it so much that you're actually possessed to share it with other people out of passion, out of love, because you really think you're going to help them. It might save a life. It might help them with breakthrough. It's not the whole, I'm going to do this to prove people wrong. I actually believe that's the wrong motivation. I think that can cause bitterness to boil up if you do things with the wrong motivation. And so if you guys hear my heart today, everything is out of a motivation for love. I want you guys to literally crush the fear of man so you can step into your assignment and no longer be held back, right? So key number 1, living unashamed. Good stuff? Okay. Key number 2, a little bit more difficult. If you have any guesses, you can shout it out. I'm just curious actually what your thoughts are. But this has been a revelation for me. See, I was told that growing up in school, information, it could change my thoughts. It could change, if information was the key, everybody would be rich, everybody would be fit. It's not about information. It's about revelation. It's about you're having that light bulb moment that actually just opens your eyes. Key number 2 is literally almost extinct on the planet today. It's very rare. I shouldn't say it's rare. And that's the ability to walk unoffended. Unoffended.
Yeah.
See, would you agree that attitude is a choice?
Absolutely.
Right. So when things happen to you, you can choose how you react. Right. Well, I firmly believe, and I'm not talking at anybody, that living unoffended is a choice. So when someone cuts you off in traffic, somebody says something harsh, you have a choice. You can either be hurt by them or you can hurt for them. Do you guys see the difference?
Yes.
If you're hurt by people and you're offended by somebody, it's hard to love them at the same time, right? And so walking unoffended it's powerful. There's freedom. If you have an assignment, the reason I think it's the second key is if you're going to burn for something, you're going to stand for your business, your faith, whatever it is, you are going to get some pushback. And if you're spending all your time diverting from your assignment to go try to put out these fires and argue and prove your point right, you're not going to be moving in the forward. You're going to slow down your progress, if that makes sense. And so those are the keys. It's living unashamed and it's living unoffended, but there is a curveball. I believe there's actually a master key that unlocks those other 2 keys, because some of you are thinking that's just ridiculous. You can't walk unoffended. I mean, do we forgive people that are right or do we forgive people that are wrong?
We forgive.
I guess nobody here forgives, but I know it's getting pretty deep, right? It's all right. Virgil, if I called you and I was like, brother, I forgive you, man, and he goes, for what? Well, the other day you bought me lunch and you really encouraged me and my spirit was lifted, and I forgive you for that. That'd be ridiculous, right? We don't forgive people that are right. We forgive people that are wrong, and it takes a strong person to be able to do that. But you know what it takes is that master key. You know what it is? It's actually having a fail-proof identity. If you don't know who you are and whose you are, I just don't believe that you can actually walk out an unashamed, undefended life because you're trying to live up to everybody else's expectations. I don't think you can actually step into your assignment if you're trying to live up to everybody else's expectations. Hello? Would you guys agree with that? Yeah. I love the feedback. I love the energy. But some of you guys, it's sinking in. Hopefully it's causing you guys to reflect a little bit and maybe open your eyes to something. But what is identity? Identity is really it's really what defines you, what gives you your value. Today in society, there's a lot of things that are screaming to be our identity, our careers, right? There's fulfillment in our careers. You're a doctor, you're helping people, that's amazing. This is just my personal beliefs, don't shoot me or stab me, but I personally believe that can't be your sole your sole identity, because if something happens, if you lose your ability to practice medicine, you are crushed. You lose your identity, you lose your purpose, you lose your heart. Okay? A sound heart is life to the body. You lose your purpose, you'll start to lose your life. Okay? Moms that are maybe stay-at-home moms, and your identity, your purpose is to be a mom and raise those kids. And I believe in that. I mean, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and we're called to lay down our life for one another. But if that's your number one purpose in life, and those kids move out, what happens sometimes? Those moms go into radical depression because they just lost their purpose, they just lost their identity, and they just lost their heart. Does that make sense? I used to live for the praise of people. I'm a words of affirmation guy. Like, I love, Adam, you did a great job, thank you, and I used to feed on that. And I would, I got my value from it. I'd feel really good, and I'd be good for about a day, and then 2-3 days later, I'd be like, man, I'm having I'm a yes man. I want to please people. I love to see people happy. I know a lot of us are. But if you get your identity out of that, and 2 or 3 days go by, you start to feel less valuable because you haven't got fed, right? And I heard somebody told me something someday. It changed my life. It said, if you live by the praise of people, you'll die by their criticism too. Oh man, like we could stop right there. That's a good word. And if you live by the praise of people, you'll die by the criticism too, because if you give something permission to give you life, you're kind of opening it up to destroy you at the same time. And I'm going to give you some things that I don't live by that anymore. But I want to give you one more personal story. And this is not to discourage you. I do not have a doom and gloom message. It's really just to open your eyes and hopefully today you'll actually reflect on some of the things that were shared. So my grandmother, who I love dearly, she's just an amazing woman. She's 80 years old, and any moment she's about to be with the Lord for eternity because her health is just like non-responsive. I mean, it's that time. And 5 years ago, she lost my grandfather, amazing man of integrity. I'm so thankful for their legacy. They've poured into my wife and I and our family, and but her whole purpose, her whole identity was serving, honoring, pleasing. Like, it was just living for him. And that's awesome. I think you should lay down your life for your spouse. I'm not disagreeing with that. The unfortunate thing is when he passed 5 years ago, she lost her purpose. She lost her heart. She lost her identity. That sound heart is life to the body. Like, that's for real. She lost her will to live. I personally believe that if her identity wasn't in my grandfather, then she would be thriving today. And that's kind of what I came to share with you guys today, is just to get you to maybe start thinking about, like, what's your identity? What calls and determines your value? For me personally, I spent a lot of time just seeking that out and looking for answers. And I'm going to end with this. So I know a lot of you have to go. I believe purpose, I believe your mission, your calling, and your destiny are actually all different things. And that's just how I interpret it. And I'm going to share it with you if it helps you in any way. My purpose is very simple. Once I determine that I can't live by the praise of people, and there's only one person that can determine my value, and my purpose is that I'm a son of the King. Like, I was created on purpose to be a son, know my identity, know my value, and that's very, very simple. My mission is to love my dad, my Father in heaven, my wife, Michelle, my daughter, Hannah, and the one in front of me, whoever that is. And I'm just going to say, I don't have to agree with you to love you. Today on Facebook, if you don't agree the same thing, you get defriended, right? Like, I don't have to agree with you in order to love you, okay? That's my mission, to love the one in front of me. My calling is I want to influence influencers. Every one of you is an influencer, and if I have somehow influenced you just a little bit today, I consider that a home run because it has a compound effect. My destiny, and this is what you're going to be thinking about, is what do you burn for? I asked that question early this morning. Like, what do you burn for? What gets you excited? I personally, you might think it's weird, I burn for breaking off this lie of the fear of man, the fear of rejection, the fear of what people think, the fear of looking silly. Like, just live unshamed. Like, if you do everything with integrity, you can defend yourself with passion, right? And so that's my mission, is I want to lead people to truth so they can actually discover their purpose. And once you know your purpose, then you know the truth, and then you can actually crush fear and step into your assignment. And so that's what I came to talk to you guys today, that you get to decide if this is actually like doable. Like you might be thinking that's impossible, or you might be thinking, wow, I've never heard it that way. I can actually do this. I actually believe in you. You guys were created to change the world. So I just pray that you do find that purpose if you haven't yet already, so you can discover your assignment. God bless you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.